Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about The Wolf of Wall Street, directed by Martin Scorsese and stars Leonardo DiCaprio. And I'm trying to decide whether or not it's necessary to describe the plot for this movie because it's basically a classic at this point. So I'm just going to skip talking about the plot and get right into what I liked about it. I love Leonardo DiCaprio. I think he's great in this role. Jonah Hill, he's excellent in this movie. And this movie is a lot of fun to watch. There's lots of sequences that are just so much fun to watch. Like when Leonardo DiCaprio, his character Jordan Belfort, when he's giving speeches to all all the people that he employs, and it's so much fun to watch. And I'll probably do some impressions later on. I think one of the major highlights for this movie for me, and what separates it from a lot of other movies that are based on true events, is that it tells the complete story, the beginning, the actual story itself, and a bit of the aftermath of what happens after all of this happened. And I do think this movie does a great job exploring every last detail that happens in the movie, and it's all great. It's a lot of fun, and there's lots of funny jokes throughout the movie, and it kind of makes you feel as if you're just with a bunch of guys having a great time, and it's a lot of fun. It's a blast to watch. The pacing is great, and this movie is 3 hours long, and it never drags along ever. And there are a couple of dramatic points in the story, but none of it feels forced. It all feels natural. And that probably has to do with the fact that all the characters in this movie talk like real people. There's also some really fun editing choices in this movie. And here's one example. It's basically a montage of a wedding, basically. And it just shows all these high points and really fun moments that happen throughout it. Sometimes it's involving lots of sex, drugs, and all of that is fun because it just briefly goes over that, and it's always funny to see all that because these characters are just so, what's the word, they have a lot of energy and they're just letting it all loose, and it's so much fun to watch. And it also shows you what happens later on with the wedding that happens in this movie. And when the montage is finished, it cuts right to Jordan Belfort he's sleeping on his bed, and Margot Robbie's character, she just splashes water on his face as he's sleeping in bed. And it's really funny. And you understand why she's so mad at him. And it's really funny. Apparently, this movie was going to get an NC-17 rating, but the director, Martin Scorsese, worked a little with the MPAA, supposedly. And by doing so, he was able to get this movie to an R rating instead of an NC-17 rating. And I can definitely see how this can be an NC-17 movie. Because of the amount of nudity, drug use, swearing, all that stuff. There's a lot of that in this movie. I'm going to just get into my issues with this movie. I do have some issues, and one of my issues with this movie would be that there's some weird sound design choices. There's a dinner scene early on in the movie with our main character, Jordan Belfort, and Matthew McConaughey. He's in the movie for like 5 minutes. He's great in the movie, but in that scene, you could hear them talking. It's very clear, but you couldn't hear anything else, and I found that to be a little distracting. It was just basically focused on those two at the dinner table talking, and you could hear all the sounds perfectly that they were making, but you couldn't hear anyone else in the room. And you'd expect to hear at least one, like, I don't know, a spoon hitting a dish or something, or a fork. You hear nothing else. And that was a little distracting. And there was also, I can't really say the exact moment because it's a little bit of a spoiler. It's sort of early on in the movie where there's like this weird flipping sound. And it's very weird and distracting. It's in the scene where it's where Jordan Belfort's character, he's teaching all of his employees to like be professionals, It's like around the line where he says, "And the only problem you'll have is that you didn't buy more." Sound fair enough? It's around that line where there's like this weird flipping sound, and it always distracted me, and I have no idea what that sound is all about. And my other issue with this movie, I know people have said this already, but this movie is very reminiscent to Goodfellas in terms of where the story goes. And it is. And I get it. Martin Scorsese, he made that movie, so it's not like he's sort of ripping off another movie that he made. Sorry, that someone else made, sorry. He's just copying something that he did and putting it into this movie. However, where my problem comes with that is that there's no real big surprises for me since he's just repeating something that he already did. And because of that, there isn't a whole lot of surprises throughout the movie for me. And it doesn't engage me as much. If, let's say, Goodfellas never existed, then I would have enjoyed this movie a lot more because I had no idea where this movie was going. But because I've seen Goodfellas, I kind of know where this movie is going. And that kind of took away from my experience a little bit. I should also mention that there is a lot of narration in this movie, but it all feels necessary. I can't think of any of the narration in this movie that was unnecessary, and I already mentioned that the pacing was great in this movie, and because every scene flows really well, and there isn't one scene where anything drags for me, and I've mentioned that there's lots of narration, and it's all feels necessary, and it never feels as if anything's being over-explained, and the movie's already 3 hours long, and I never felt the pacing and the narration fit perfectly because the movie was perfectly paced. And that's how I feel about the narration, is that none of it felt unnecessary. And that's about all I have to say about The Wolf of Wall Street. I think it's a great movie. It's a lot of fun. It's very well paced. It gives you exactly what you want. If you've seen Goodfellas, then you know what to expect in terms of where the story is going to go, obviously. And it's lots of fun. So check it out. Keep in mind, it's not really a movie you should watch with your family, but definitely put it on your watch list if you have not seen it. And I'm going to give The Wolf of Wall Street an 8 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos as always. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below what you thought of The Wolf of Wall Street down below. And my social media links will be in the description down below, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation. And I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for Fight Club. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching, and have a great day. Alright, I'm just going to explain what the rest of this video is going to be, and it's just me doing some impressions, mostly from The Wolf of Wall Street, and some of them are kind of good, some of them I don't really like, but I'm going to include them anyways, and some of it's just me screwing around, so enjoy. And I do one impression from The Godfather, and I hope you enjoy it. And the only problem that you're going to have is that you didn't buy more. Sound fair enough? Mm-hmm. 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 Move the money from your client's pocket into your pocket. Name of the game, move the money from your client's pocket into your pocket. It's his first day on Wall Street. Give him time.
Fugazi, Fugazi, it's Veritas. It doesn't exist.
Ah, funny papers. Ah, funny papers.